impeachment resolution? It's not an impeachment resolution.
Transcript, yet the Ukraine whistleblower, hearsay whistleblower hoax continues. Today, a White House official, Army Lieutenant Colonel Alexander VII, testified behind closed doors about his Ukraine call concerns, and President Trump blasted him as, quote, another Trumper witness. Here now with reaction, Senator Lindsey Graham. Senator, to be a Democrat today, this is the depth of blind rage, psychosis, and hypocrisy. This is what you think about this. You have to be okay with Hillary stealing the primary from Bernie. You have to accept that she violated the Espionage Act. You have to accept that what she did with subpoenaed emails and bleach bit and hammers and deletions is okay. You have to accept that she did have a dirty Russian dossier she tried to use. You have to accept that it was okay to use the unverified dossier, even though you're warned 5 times to get a warrant when it's unverifiable and rely on FISA applications. You have to accept the outsourcing of intelligence gathering. You have to accept that Ukraine is allowed to interfere to help her and it's not a big deal. That's how insane this now is, if you're a Democrat.
Well, it's even deeper. You have to accept that President Trump is president. That's the problem. They don't accept that President Trump won the election. And America hates a sore loser as much as any country on the planet. This is an unfair process being driven by sore losers. And there's not one vote in the United States Senate to impeach President Trump based on this phone call because he did nothing wrong.
Adam Schiff is now
among Republicans.
Adam Schiff is now compromised. He is now a fact witness in this case because his staff had contact with the non-whistleblower. Right. Will you call, are you able to call Adam Schiff? And I also would like to be very interested if you can call Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. Because I happen to believe in my heart, now maybe it's my wild imagination, but if it was Vice President Trump that, well, used taxpayer money, had a quid pro quo, fire him, you get the money. Don't fire him, no money. And Hunter, with no experience, gets millions. I think if it was Vice President Trump and Don Jr., I think that millions of Democrats would be acting differently. Can you call them before your committee?
Well, I can't call Adam Schiff. I mean, we've got speech and debate, constitutional separations here. But somebody who's investigating a crime could call Adam Schiff potentially as a witness. No member of Congress is above the law, but congressmen can't call senators. Senators can't call the president because of separation of power. But in terms of Joe Biden and Hunter Biden, yeah, I think somebody definitely needs to look into this. And it was about foreign aid, so the Foreign Relations Committee would have oversight. But let me get back to what's going on in the House. In the history of the country, we've never had the Intelligence Committee participate in an impeachment inquiry. Under the resolution they're going to pass tomorrow, the President's Council cannot participate in the Intel Committee inquiry, so the President's denied right to counsel, and Republicans can't call witnesses without Schiff agreeing, so this whole thing is a sham.
Because I believe what I'm holding in my hands, this is a phony resolution. This is fake news. This is fake fairness. Okay, so they're releasing
by half.
But I believe you're responsible for this. Because you put out, your petition, you got 50 signatures. 50 is a pretty magic number. Now my question is, maybe we should have part 2 and say, unless they do what Newt Gingrich did, we still feel the same way. What do you think?
Well, I think Joe Cunningham from South Carolina is a Democrat holding the 1st Congressional District. He says he's going to vote for the inquiry, and here's what I would tell Congressman Cunningham. You're voting for an inquiry that allows the Intelligence Committee to do witness interviews behind closed doors, and the President's Council is not allowed to attend. The basic premise of due process is to confront your witnesses, the accusers against you and call witnesses on your behalf. Neither can be done under this resolution. This is a crumb of due process. It's not even half a loaf. If we tried to do this to a Democrat, they'd be eating us alive. Let me just stress this. The Intel Committee, the President's Council cannot participate, and Republicans cannot call witnesses unless Schiff agrees. That is a joke, and any Democrat who votes for this, I believe, is voting for an un-American process.
Senator, you've been at a number of the president's rallies. I know the one in Dallas had like 35,000 people outside watching. Okay. Greatest show on earth. You know, I don't know a band that even gets that kind of crowd. But here's my question to you. Because I do have the honor of doing 3 hours of radio, and I see my social media, and I can tell you my belief, as evidenced by these crowds and the intensity, I have never in my life witnessed such resolution and anger that if the Democrats do this and impeach him, and they can, and he's not going to get convicted in the Senate, I believe that the people that voted for Trump in 2016, and probably many others, are going to be willing to wait in line a month in the pouring rain and sleet and snow to vote for Trump and re-elect him in 2020. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, the backlash is going to be wide and deep because what they're doing to President Trump is unfair. As sore losers can't accept the consequences of losing an election, and this process in the House is a joke. President Trump is being treated unfairly, and most Americans are going to say so when they understand what's happening.
So they're really going to help President Trump get reelected with this, aren't they?
Well, no, we're going to take the House back, keep the Senate, and the president's going to win because of this BS.
I agree with you. Senator, thank you. Left criticism. Right now, the media mob keeps finding more and more ways to destroy their credibility, like actually offering, flattering praise of the terror leader al-Baghdadi. Doesn't get any sicker than that. Not only did the Washington Post call him an austere religious scholar who dies at 48, now they have a columnist who is under fire for actually challenging President Trump's assertion that al-Baghdadi died a coward. Then it gets worse because even prominent Democrats are so consumed with anti-Trump rage and psychosis that they're actually hitting the president for his tone after bringing the world's most wanted terrorist to justice. Can't make this up, so I gotta show you. Here's the evidence.
Here. Donald Trump, that press conference was extraordinary. You would think that he was talking about watching and giving commentary on a video game. He clearly does not fully appreciate the importance of the job.
I hope he will tone down the rhetoric. There's no reason to gloat over it and insult Baghdadi and let that video be a recruiting tool for ISIS or Al-Qaeda.
Yeah, we don't want to make them mad. What they're forgetting is Trump kicked the living crap out of him because he did what Obama and Biden wouldn't do, and he took the rules of engagement and threw it out the window, and he bombed the living hell out of ISIS and defeated the caliphate in Syria. Biden and Obama didn't do that. Here with reaction, the author of the new book, Exonerated, Fox News contributor Dan Bongino, along with Fox News correspondent at large, Geraldo Rivera. You know, Geraldo, you said a while back, it is kind of funny, our history. You were in 1998 on some other channel hosting your own show against my show.
You think?
And you were against impeachment then. You're against impeachment now. I don't think it's ever been this bad, though. You give me your perspective.
Well, I lived through Nixon also. So Nixon, Clinton, and now the President Trump. I think that President Trump, this is a total railroad job. I mean, if you were to vote right now among the American people, whether they think this lame phone call to the Ukrainian president is an impeachable offense as envisioned by the framers of the United States Constitution, They would say absolutely not. This is a waste of the country's time. There are a dozen bills, crucial bills, funding the government that will lie idle as we pursue this futile exercise. The House is clearly a stacked deck. The Senate will acquit the president as soon as they get it in their chamber. This is appalling, and I really have to say that I am deeply disappointed in the mainstream media for the equivocal nature of their reaction to the death of this mass murdering dog, this person who cut people's heads off, who conquered a swath of land, created a nation, robbed tens of millions of dollars, killed thousands and thousands of people, almost wiped out the Yazidis, an ethnic group. I mean, this was a gigantic achievement by American Special Forces, our operators. We should be celebrating it the way we celebrated the death of Osama bin Laden. Instead, we're petty, picking, style points about the president. I think it's really lamentable, Sean.
I think the president, by looking into election interference, which for 3 years Democrats said foreign election interference is bad, and the president asking to get to the bottom of it, he was exercising his constitutional oath. I think to get to the bottom of Joe Biden's quid pro quo with taxpayer money and Hunter Biden's millions of dollars for knowing nothing.
Yep.
I want to get to the bottom of that, too, and the president was right to get to the bottom of that, to even ask. That's corruption.
Darn right he was. No, you're absolutely right. You know, if you're a Democrat, how do you look at yourself in the mirror? And if you're one of the media bootlickers with your lips surgically attached to the ass of the Democrat Party, I mean, how do you get up in the morning and look at yourself? Sean, you just pointed out one. I'll just give you one major. You're all hypocrites, you Democrats. I'm not talking about voting Democrats in the country. I'm talking about the Hill swamp rat Democrats. I'm sure there's some good people out there who genuinely care. But the Hill is infested with TDS level 6 Trump derangement syndrome. You know, you told us for 2 years that foreign collusion in an election mattered. Yet we know for a fact, facts, liberals, those things you have a really hard time with, that the Ukrainians colluded with the Democrats to try to damage Trump in the election. You don't give a damn about that. We heard today, by the way, that a decorated military officer who claims to have some information that you can't scrutinize him, Sean. You can't thank him for his service. He deserves it. But having said that, it's funny how Mike Flynn, not only can we scrutinize Mike Flynn, we should crap on Mike Flynn at every single opportunity if you're a liberal. That's okay. You liberals are frauds. America's tired of you. I'm tired of you. Hey, Michelle, one more thing just to hit on Geraldo's point too. And then just in the last few years, we've had the Democrats, so I had to make a list, defend MS-13, infanticide. We had Bill Maher calling for recessions, and now they're defending a rapist, murderous, pig, dog, cockroach who are special forces, and our dogs were braver than this guy, and they're defending him. Good job, media, alienating the entire country, you imbeciles.
The one point where I disagree, though, is I think that Colonel Vindman, by earning the Purple Heart and serving his country honorably, deserves a pass. I hated what they did to General Flynn. I've communicated that to General Flynn. Let me finish, Dan. I've got to finish.
Nobody gets a pass.
Served our nation. He risked his life for us.
Nobody gets a pass.
You got to get him a pass.
You don't get a pass, Geraldo. That's total crap. The truth matters. Mike Flynn didn't get a pass. Mike Flynn could go to jail.
You can't suggest he's not telling the truth. It's not your truth. It may not be your truth. It may not be your truth, but he's a patriot. He's got to be treated differently than the slugs and the bureaucrats.
That is garbage. No, you are wrong. Take that back. You are wrong. That is garbage. Nobody gets a pass on the truth.
Yes or no answer. Last question. Does this in the end help Trump? Yes or no, Geraldo?
I think that the American people will look at this in retrospect and say, oh my God, what they did to this person. I think, yes, it helps President Trump.
Dan, yes or no?
It absolutely helps President Trump. America's tired of this garbage.
Agreed. All right.
On this vote, the yeas are 232, the nays are 196. The resolution is adopted without objection. The motion to reconsider is laid upon the table.